Welcome back to the Purple Podcast. This is episode number 30 now, and it's a Tuesday. We got Tuesday, December 13th is the date. We're bringing this out to you. You're inching closer to December 25th, Christmas Day. But anyways, this isn't going to be a Christmas-oriented podcast by any means, but we're going to, this one's going to be mostly NFL football related, talking on the Dolphins. As I say just about every single episode, I'm still trying to figure out the exact identity of what we want for these episodes. I'm trying to be more content specific because there's so many things that I do want to talk about, but I think when I talk about too many things, then I don't get to necessarily touch on things as much as I would like or go into as much detail. So let's just say, opposed from this episode here where I will touch on some things out here in the intro a little bit. But mostly I think it's going to be more content specific. So like if I want to talk about a TV show, I think I'm going to do like a TV show episode on the Purple Podcast kind of thing. But we do have some other episode ideas coming out soon. Mike Meredith will be joining the booth. We're gonna get an episode out to you tomorrow, so that should be fun. I think we're gonna be starting doing those just about every single Wednesday, or we're gonna try to at least. But those are gonna be like top 10 lists. So basically, each week we're gonna do a different category of our top 10 list. Tomorrow will be our top 10 sports video games of all time, and that's it. So that should be a nice 30+ minute long conversation. I'm sure we'll chat a bit about in the beginning, but I think I've just gotten into a bit of getting just too lengthy and jumping around from too many different items, and I just need to be more content specific and stick with that, because I just think doing little segments on things that are interesting to me kind of runs out, or at least I need to have like more people on to talk about those things, because I think the back and forth, how much do you all really want to hear just about my weekend? I think talking back and forth with some friends will make it a lot better there. So with that being said, we will jump into the episode with a little bit of an intro. Right now we have some World Cup action going on. Actually, Croatia and Argentina are at the half. Argentina is up 2-0 right now. Tomorrow we're going to have Morocco and France, so that should be a crazy game. Morocco, the Cinderellas of the tournament. I guess that's who I would be going for at this point. I think I said that earlier on in another episode, is that I would be rooting for Morocco if they're still in it. Other than that, France and Argentina will be just a marquee matchup. We don't need to see Croatia in it again. I think they were in last World Cup and ended up losing. I think it was it would be a rematch between France and Croatia, so I guess that's fun too. So there aren't really any bad outcomes of the World Cup. And the World Cup altogether is just a pretty awesome event. Hopefully next time we don't have to watch all the games at like 2 p.m. just because, I guess we won't. I think the next World Cup is in the U.S., so that's going to be fucking sick. Looking forward to that. And the U.S. gets an automatic bid for it, so that's nice. Other news in terms of the White Lotus, I talked about starting that just on last episode. I think I said I just started that. So me and Dana had watched 2 episodes at that point. We're finished now. We caught up, and then we watched the last episode on Sunday. Pretty wild exit at this point. If you haven't seen it, turn it off because there are going to be some spoilers. I'm going to give you 1, 2, 3. All right, but yeah, what a wild ending. Like I said last week, it's one of those shows that presents all these possibilities, and you think, it could go this way, that way, or the other. And it ends up typically being something completely that you didn't think of. Honestly, I thought Tanya was safe, but she bites the dust. And I read something that was in kind of like a beautiful, I guess not really beautiful, but it gives comfort to the fact that she died, because, she was never going to be happy anyways. And her vice of always reading so far into things, she finally gets to rest in peace, I guess, even if that's not the way you really want to go out. But she did see through the, the plot to steal her money, killed all those people out on the boat. Pretty wild. Good for her. I thought this season was a lot better than last, even though a lot of people, I guess even from the critics' standpoint, loved last season. I thought last season was pretty boring. I'm going to be honest. I thought this one was a lot more interesting. I think it has a lot to do with the setting. I don't know if I touched on that in the last episode or not, but I think Sicily is just a far more entertaining location for the show to be shot than Hawaii. Like, Hawaii is cool and all, but I don't know. I have some I have some affinity for, I guess, European countries, and Italy. It's such like I don't know. I've never been out of the country, so I've never been to Hawaii either, so I can't really speak on it, but I just feel like I would much rather go to Italy than Hawaii. But I guess there will be a White Lotus Season 3. Who's going to be the recurring cast in that one? You think like another member comes over? I was thinking like Tanya was going to be that connecting factor just because she had been in the first two. So it for me at least, it didn't make sense necessarily why they'd kill her off. I guess that was going to be her little play to like bring her over each season, but that didn't work out. It didn't work out that way, but that's okay. No worries. I really enjoyed this season. I thought it was fun. It is just an examination of people and their behaviors, and I think a lot of it is a talk about like wealth and just how it distorts people to some degree, and they just kind of walk over the poor. But whatever, I thought it was a pretty good episode, or a pretty good season, a good final episode as well. And now I'm just gonna have to go to Sicily or something because it looked like a pretty sick location. Other news, film-wise, Avatar 2 is coming out on Friday, so we already discussed that. I'm thinking that I'm going to have to watch the first one before. I don't think we're going to watch it on Friday just because we have some plans with our friend group to go over to Mikey's and make gingerbread houses. I think we're going to watch the night before that night, so it doesn't make sense to go see it in theater on Friday. Maybe we'll get away from some of the rush, but I guess maybe not even that because we're going to be going on, I would imagine, Tuesday, a half-price movie night. And I'm sure a lot of other people have that same idea. So Tuesday is probably going to be pretty damn packed too. I'm sure it's going to be packed for a while anyway. So now that I talk about that, we might want to look into getting tickets sooner rather than later. But really looking forward to that. I mean, like I said last time, I think we waited like 13, 12 years for this at this point. So it should be pretty fun. I couldn't tell you the last time I watched the original movie. I feel like I remember everything from it. So I don't think not watching it would really hinder my viewing of the second one, but I think it would definitely help to some extent. So done with that. Modern Warfare 2 streams. Guys, if you didn't see it, I just put out a YouTube channel yesterday. I'm going to keep doing those. I guess I'm just going to grab the clips from the Twitch streams. We're going to keep doing the camo grind. I had a lot of fun doing that, and obviously I think the production value of my YouTube videos are going to increase with time. I'm going to want to make them better, but currently I'm just grabbing basically clips, dropping them into iMovie and grabbing pertinent parts and keeping it relatively short. I don't want a very long basically video, but I think for this next one I might shoot to get it a little bit longer, and I might not post like everything on Instagram. I might just grab like a minute 30-second clip so I can keep it as a reel and potentially promote it on there as well. I have done some of the boosts. I guess they're okay for getting more exposure because I am trying to grow this thing, of course. So we can do that. You can do like quick little ads, like $5 for 6 days, $30. That's not really shit. And at the end of the day, this is a passion of mine, and I would love to see it blow up. With that being said, go and get your purple merch. It's Christmas time, guys. What's better than to surprise your significant other, your loved ones, your family members, your friends, than with some beautiful purple merch. So check that out. It's on the site, purplemediaco.com. You can find it in the link of my Instagram as well. So go find you some purple merch. There's a lot of cool little things on there. I need to get myself some more stuff, to be honest. They make it as ordered, so I don't have like a whole backlog of it, which is nice, and it's more sustainable. So go Earth. But that'll conclude our intro here, guys. Let's hop into the main point of the call, and we'll talk on some NFL football, some fantasy football, the Miami Dolphins, which I'm not necessarily looking forward to discussing us, but we'll hop out early here and talk about something that is a little more enjoyable for me. I'm going to get a sip of my V8 Energy. No, this isn't a plug, but I'm going to have a drink. Fantasy football, guys. So if you've been following basically this podcast for the past, I guess, since football season began, since fantasy football began. It wasn't great. It wasn't going great for me. I started the season 1-5. I had continuously pushed saying that my team has scored the most points or second to most points and has just had the most scored against them. So, the cream should rise to the top at some point. And guess what, guys? To finish the last 8 weeks of the season after being 1-5, I go 6-2, finish with a 7-7 record, and I'm sitting at fourth in the playoffs. Sitting very pretty in our league. It was a very, middle-heavy league anyways. I mean, there's one person sitting at 13-1 at the top, okay? A 9-5 team, an 8-6 team. And then the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams are 7-7. Then a 6-8, 5-9, 5-9. And then Will Leiter, who's been on this podcast, sitting at 3-11. Very funny because his name this year was Milk Mile Champion, which is our loser award for the person who comes in last. So he's already came in last. Another bottom finish for him. He still has the toilet bowl. We might be changing the rule on that in years to come, just because it's more fair to make the team who actually comes in last in the regular season do it. If there's a tie, maybe at the last, maybe the toilet bowl is the tiebreaker. I think that makes more sense. But if you're cemented as the very last finisher in the league at 3-11, I think going ahead from this year, because we didn't have this set out or oriented this way yet, so it would be unfair to make the toilet bowl basically worthless, because I was the last loser last year. Honestly, I think I was in last place. I don't know if it was a tie between last place, but I did end up winning in the toilet bowl, so I did not come in very last there. But I think going forward, we'll set those rules out straight from the very get-go, that if you come in last in the regular season, you are the last place finisher, unless it's a tie, and then the toilet bowl can be the tiebreaker. But anyways, we're sitting at 7-7. We have a matchup. We didn't get a bye. We're in fourth place. We're the fourth seed here. I'm going to be taking on my buddy Jackson. The team is in a decent place. I did pick up J.K. Dobbins, who had a great first week back. Concerning because he doesn't look 100% by a mile. He had 43% of the snaps, 15 carries for 120 yards, and a touchdown. So a really efficient game. Scored 18 points. So especially with Cooper Kupp being on IR, that was a big hit to the team. But we still kept winning. We got Josh Jacobs at running back, Travis Etienne, who's had a horrible few weeks. So hopefully he can get me some pointage going forward as well. I think he's due for a pretty good game, but they are playing Dallas this Sunday. Tyreek Hill, a little banged up. Zay Jones has had some pretty good weeks, so he's been a good fill-in for Cooper Kupp for me. I think I'm on the market for a new tight end. Tyler Higbee, I don't think I can stick with him. He's been too consistently bad over the past 4 weeks. So 8.5, 0, 3.4, 3.1. And, Matthew Stafford isn't even back, so I just don't think I can afford to have him on the team, just bringing up the rear like that. So I think I'm in the market for a new tight end. Geno Smith, I have the question of playing him against San Francisco or playing Daniel Jones. I think I might go with Vanilla Vic. I'm going to be honest. I might go with Vanilla Vic. I got some other decisions to make. Do I want to see Darius Slayton? He's had some decent weeks, and he's been relatively consistent, being around that 10 to 15 point range as a wide receiver, and that's what I could really use out of a wide receiver 3. But the upside of J.K. Dobbins, a team that's going to have to run the ball, I think I'm going to keep J.K. Dobbins in. And then defensively, we're probably going to be on the market as well. But Pitt is going against Carolina. So we'll see. There's decisions to be made. Big week, fantasy football. I'm just glad I'm in the playoffs. Like I said, we started 1-5. I wasn't sure we were going to get there. We dug ourselves a big asshole, but ended up finishing fourth. And, those points are what put me in that 4th point place too, because there's 7-7 teams that didn't make the league. Or make the tournament. There's 2, but the other 2 that are in the playoffs, I'm ahead of them because of my point scoring. So I've scored the second most points in this league. The guy who's 13-1 has scored 100 more than me. So he's well out and ahead of everybody, but I'm pretty much well out and ahead of everyone else. So This team deserved to be in the playoffs. It's time to play. Anything can happen. Playoff fantasy football, it's very exciting. The other couples league that I've been touching on, I'm also in that tournament, and my team's fucking ridiculously good in that one. I just didn't want to waste too much time talking about that league there, but I'll be sitting at third in that league. So altogether, a pretty good fantasy league, or pretty good fantasy season for me. I've put in, I put 2 teams in the playoffs. I've been kind of managing my dad's league for him as well, and he's sitting at 4th in his league, I believe, as well, or 3rd. I think 4th. So he's going to be in the playoffs in his league as well. So I've had some fantasy success. Your boy knows ball. But yeah, moving on from fantasy to the not fun part of the podcast now at this point. We're going to talk about the Dolphins. We're going to briefly touch on these past 2 weeks. Let me take another drink here. All right, well, ESPN is playing an ad for me, so we're going to have to beat that. But these past 2 weeks, we have a loss at San Francisco, 33-17 against Brock Purdy, who's turned out to be a lot better than, I guess, we got really shat on for losing to him. But he absolutely dominated this Sunday. And then we lose to the Chargers, which was the really big backbreaker for me that has completely flipped my notion of what this team is. We lose 23-17 in a game that we should have won a million times over. But Tua's performance against San Francisco, not amazing, not terrible. 18 of 33, 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Hate the picks, but it is how it goes. Tyreek continued his dominance, 9 receptions, 146 yards, 1 touchdown. We just couldn't get the offense together in that game. Trent Sherfield, 1 reception for 75 yards and a touchdown. It was such a great start, and then we cooled off. We couldn't get anything done. That defense is, very good, so you don't hate it. You want to win that game, but that's not the one that really hurts. It's moving on into the next week where we take on, where we took on the Chargers. Sunday night, primetime, they flexed us into the spot, and man, we did the fucking least of it, really. Just absolutely terrible performance. Tua goes 10 for 28, 145 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Raheem Mostert, 37 rushing yards on 11 attempts. Tua had 28 rushing yards. It was nice to see him actually run the ball and remember that he could do that. Jeff Wilson gets hurt, which sucked. Tyreek was banged up, still had 4 receptions, 81 yards, and a touchdown, and he had that fumble recovery touchdown. So this game would have been a lot uglier. We actually were in it. We had a chance to win at the end as the Chargers go. So, Justin Herbert showed up, 39 of 51, 367 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Just overall, we just got out-schemed. Of course, 10 of 28 is horrible from Tua, but no one was fucking open, dude. All game long, no one was open. And this is a receiving core going against literally a completely banged up and just bad defense overall. And that's why I say it's a scheming thing, because we couldn't get people open. We couldn't run on this team, who's a terrible run defense. I didn't do the deep dive look into the game prior, so I don't know what their defense ranks, but they were bad. Let's put it that way. And for our offense, who's supposed to be a top 10, top 5 offense in the league, to show up or to not show up at all is just absolutely unacceptable. I don't know how I feel about this team at this point. Sunday could be a big turning point. We take on the Bills, and we can reestablish who we thought we might have been. But I feel really, really bad about this team right now in just a horrible game in prime time. It was just embarrassing. I had no confidence in this offense. We couldn't. That's what I mean. Were we really missing throws? Tua didn't have an interception. We just had no one open. We couldn't run the ball. We were one-dimensional. They took away the middle of the field, and we had no clue what to fucking do. So I think I think we got out-coached in this game more than anything. Their offense, we have a banged-up defense in secondary. Our run defense is great. Did very well run defense-wise. But Mike Williams, 6 receptions, 116 yards, destroyed Xavier Howard, who is, I think we just have to eat it and say he's not very good anymore. He's had a horrible year. He's obviously not a bad corner, but he is not a top. We need a top guy. And Byron Jones being out, Cater Kohu has stepped up in that role. Keelan Crossan pisses me off. This isn't a championship team. I'll say that out here right now. I don't think this is a championship team, at least the way we're playing. I think we just have too many holes right now that just aren't going to get it done against those top-tier teams. That's why I think Sunday could be ugly. It's at Buffalo, and we're trending way down right now. But at the same time, that's an opportunity for us. We can go out there, make a statement, and say we still are here. I'm going to be rooting for it. I'm going to be hoping for it. I'm not going to be expecting it. But I'm going to be hopeful. I'm going to have the fool's hope. I'm a fan. I love this team. But, man, that was a disheartening game against the Chargers. We gave up third down so easy. I mean, Boyer is out as our defensive coordinator for all I care. I wish he was gone this week, but he's going to have to be gone after this season. Too many times where we just schemed ourselves into just a terrible situation. We were getting them to third down. It's like, oh, where the fuck you think they're going to go with this ball? Keenan Allen running a quick out. How many times did that happen? Well, he had 12 receptions for 92 yards. It happened a lot. They were 50% on third down. Right before the half as well, just absolutely disgusting decision from Boyer. Like, we got a sack. It was 3rd and 15, or it was a penalty or somehow or another. It was 3rd and goal from like the 15. They run a screen pass, get the ball to the 1 yard line. Or was that at second down? I think it was third down. They get it to the 1 yard line and said, let's fucking go for it. Touchdown, because we just gave them 15 yards for just an incredibly easy look at 4th down, 4th and 1. I mean, 95% of the teams in this league are going to go for it on that 4th down. So you can't just say, oh, we'll give them everything but that 1 yard. Teams are going to take the odds, especially in this day and age of the NFL. They're going to take that. They're going to go for it on 4th down, and it's exactly what they did. They gave it to Austin Eckler. Touchdown. We go down at the half 17-7, and our only touchdown being that Tyreek Hill fumble recovery touchdown. This is a bad game. Let's put it in the past, because that's all we can do, and let's look ahead to next week. We're gonna jump around the league real quick here, check at the scores, because I don't want to touch too much on next week without kind of looking at the scores, looking at the standings, and talking about what we have next as a team. So around the league, Thursday, the Rams the Rams beat the Raiders. That was a crazy game. Baker Mayfield, way to go for him. I'm not a Baker Mayfield hater. A lot of people really don't like Baker Mayfield very much, but I don't hate the guy. He's had a rough go these past couple of years. Fell out very heavily with the Browns, who drafted him number 1 overall. Went to the Panthers, where it's like, oh, maybe he'll revive and have a second chance. Fell out a good favor there. Wasn't starting. Gets shipped to the Rams, team who's struggled mightily in a following championship. I guess their defending championship run. They've had a lot of injuries, but they were bad before the injuries too, to be honest. So for him to come in and then drive a 98-yard drive to win the game on basically a last-second touchdown, awesome. It was what football's about. I love watching that shit. It was a great Thursday night game, even though low scoring, as they all seem to be for whatever reason. But great game. Other news around the league: that the Bills do beat the Jets. I think the Bills have supplanted themselves. I don't know if that's even the correct verb, but they have cemented themselves, I believe, into that. They're going to win the AFC East. I think that's it. So I'll take the Jets losing to keep them a little bit off our tail in terms of the wild card race. I think I'm just going to hand the Bills the AFC East at this point, even though I want to beat them next week. Absolutely. We still could, I believe, win the AFC East, but it's going to take a lot. So I'd rather at least just get to the playoffs, keep the teams around us losing. So the Jets lose, the Bengals win. So that's a tough divisional conference matchup going on. So the Bengals are I think they're in a wild card spot right now as well. So let's look at this. The Bengals are, yes, in a wild card spot. The Ravens have that division, so they're both in that there, but we're at the 6th seed currently. Other news around the league. So the Bengals beat the Browns 23-10. Texans almost beat the Cowboys. I really wish they would have, but Texans, there's a reason they're 1-11-1 at the time, 1-10-1, because, they can't finish. When they were handed a golden opportunity, they could have scored a touchdown or at least they could even kick a field goal. But the Cowboys still had to drive the whole field, and they let them do that as well. So the Cowboys win that one 27-23. Vikings get beat by the Lions, keeping the Lions' hopes around to make the playoffs. They've had a nice little run, so good for the Lions there. Jaguars, Titans, that's good for us as well. So the Jaguars beat the Titans 36-22. Eagles, Giants. The Eagles are the best team in football. I will finally admit it. Just overall, man, they just don't have any weaknesses. Like, no one has to be amazing because everyone has been very good, essentially. But, Jalen Hurts has been amazing. So he's probably winning MVP. I think he cemented himself in that spot. Ravens beat the Steelers. They beat them 16-14, so I would have liked to see the Ravens lose there, but hey, whatever. Chiefs beat the Broncos 34-28 in a surprisingly close matchup. The Chiefs got out to a very hot start and just let the Broncos get back into it. 49ers, like I said, Brock Purdy had a great game, destroyed Tom Brady in his first start ever, so 35-7. Really cool to see for that guy. I don't even think if Jimmy G comes back, do you think they give it to him at this point? I guess it's early for Brock Purdy still, but I don't know. He looks great. That offense was flying with him, so can't complain with him at the helm if he's doing that. He gives him more mobility at the quarterback position as well. Big question is what happens when Trey Lance gets back next year. I mean, you can't not play Trey Lance, but what happens to Brock Purdy, especially if he continues up with his way? Questions to be answered, but not at the time. Seahawks lose to the Panthers. I don't know if I want to play the Steelers D next week. Who was playing quarterback for the I can't even remember who was playing quarterback for the Panthers. Oh, it was Sam Darnold. So they beat the Seahawks, like Geno Smith against the 49ers. Do I want to do that? Daniel Jones. There's decisions to be made, lads. Patriots last night beat the Cardinals. Sucks for Kyler Murray, tears his ACL, I think, just on the first play, honestly, from offensive scrimmage. So Colt McCoy goes in, and, they get beat 27-13. The Patriots are still, in the wild card contention as well. So the AFC East is shaping up to be a radical finish, having us play. We play those three teams. We play the Bills, we play the Jets, we play the Patriots. Other than that, we have the Packers, which isn't going to be a fun team to play either. That's what looking around right now, Bills are sitting at the 1 seed, Chiefs in 2, Ravens at 3, Titans in the 4th seed, winning their division. So that division race is pretty ugly right now. Who's even close in it? The Colts are not. The Texans are not. But the Jaguars are pushing. They're 5-8. Not too close. It's going to take some things for them to happen. But the Patriots are in right now. They're in the wild card. They have the 7th seed. They're at 7-6. The Chargers are at 7-6. The Jets are at 7-6. So those are 3 divisional teams. Man, if we could have beat the Chargers, that would have just... It doesn't change anything. We're still in the 6th spot, but man, it would have given us a lot more comfort room, especially with some tough weeks ahead. So let's actually look ahead now. Let's look at the Dolphins' schedule. We'll take a deep dive look into the Bills matchup. I'll talk about my 3 keys to winning that game. So we play at Buffalo. That fucking sucks. That's a primetime game Saturday night. We play the Packers the next week at home. Then we play at New England, who's been trending up. And then we play the Jets at home as well. So I think we make the playoffs and we go 2-2 out the end here. So we need to go 2-2. We go 1-3. I think that's when things get real hairy, and I think we don't make it, especially depending upon who that win is against. 2-2, I think we're in. 1-3, we're out. So let's hope. Who do we get the wins against? I like playing the Packers at home. They have a decent defense. The Packers are also making a push. Let's look at the NFC standings because I think that'd be unfair to not look at them as well. So the Eagles have clinched. Obviously, they're going to probably be the 1 seed. The Vikings are right there, so they haven't clinched yet, but they're probably in. 49ers, Bucks. Damn, the Bucks are winning that division. That's crazy. Let's go Falcons, man. Desmond with the big start this Sunday. The Falcons are sitting 5-8, so they still have a chance. They can have a push. Tampa losing was big there, so they're 1 game behind in that division. Let's fucking go Falcons. Cowboys at 5th, Commanders 6th, Giants 7th. So we have all 4 NFC East teams currently in the playoffs. Seattle is sitting right outside at 7-6. The Lions have made a push at 6-7. Packers are pushing 5-8. Panthers, I guess they're in contention there as well with Tampa Bay and the Falcons, so they're tied right there. And yeah, I think that's it. The Cardinals aren't going to make that full push. So a lot of things coming up there. Let's look at the Dolphins again. So going back to this, let's go ahead and dive into the Bills game. Currently, ESPN's giving us a 25% chance to win. Don't blame them. Don't blame them at all. If we look at this game, we should probably not win. It's in Buffalo. It's supposed to It's supposed to snow 6 to 7 inches, and that's just we need to see Tua in the cold. I'm really looking forward to this game because it's going to say a lot about this team going forward. These are the type of games in the past 2 or so years that we have been getting blown out in. So in a game that's close to the playoffs, in the cold weather, when playoff pushes are happening, we've gotten blown out, and that's where this game could go, truthfully. So if we don't win, I need us to be competitive. That's fine. My 3 keys to this game, we look at our teams on paper, like stats-wise. Offensively, we're pretty close, but the thing is they're fully rounded out. We can't run the ball for shit. Let's go into our 3 keys of the game. What we're looking at, the Bills are off a 2012 win against the Jets. The Jets' defense is much better than our defense. I'll give them that. This Bills team offensively has struggled a bit more than we've seen them in recent years. But I guess that's not necessarily fair. They're on a 4-game win streak, not the most impressive 4-game win streak, but anytime you're winning, you see it from week to week. If you're winning in this league, that's all you can say. So I'm not going to hold any of those games against them. This is still, honestly, the Bills are probably my 3rd ranked team for the Super Bowl right now. We're going, I would say the Chiefs at 1, the Eagles at 2, and the Bills at 3. And you could, that's a toss-up between those 3. I think everyone else is a bit below here. But 3 keys to this game. We need to win the trenches, which we have done well, but we can't run the ball, and that's the thing. We need to run the ball better. My overall arcing thing here, which is terrible, another key to the game, offensive defensive scheme. We need to switch something up. It's going to have to change defensively because guess who's better than Justin Herbert? Josh Allen. Guess whose team's better? Josh Allen's. So teams watch this film against the Chargers. They know how to beat our offense. So we're going to have to change something up offensively. And the way Justin Herbert picked apart our defense, just tic-tacked little balls because we were playing so far off half the time and just gave them easy 3rd downs, they're going to do that. Josh Allen can run too, so all those times Justin Herbert escaped the pocket, our edge rusher came around and he stepped up and just rolled out to the right. Josh Allen's going to do that same shit and get a 1st down on 3rd downs easy too. So defensively, we need to scheme better. Offensively, we need to scheme better. Our coaches need to show up to this game as much as, the players. That might be, I don't know how much, the coaching aspect and the player aspect, they go hand in hand. I guess they're just as important. But offensively and defensively, scheme-wise, we got whooped last game. And the Bills have good coaches and the Bills have better players. They have better coaches and better players. So if we don't change something up to account for, how bad we looked on Sunday night, because we got embarrassed. There's not many times in this league that you get completely embarrassed, but we had no fucking answer. And we're going to need answers to have any kind of chance at winning this game. So number one key to the game, offensive defensive scheming needs to be significantly better. With that, I think we need to win the trenches. The Bills are the 8th best rushing team in the league, which I don't think a lot of people give them credit for. Our defensive line has been the strong point of this team. They had a great game on Sunday, so that was the one bright part I could even really talk about this team was our D-line looked amazing against the Chargers, even though, we would overcommit sometimes and Justin Herbert would get out of the pocket. But our secondary's been horrible, so we need big wins from the D-line. We need them to stop the run because it's probably going to be hard to throw the ball. The weather's going to be in bad shape in that game, I believe. Damn, now that I think about it doesn't bode well for Tyreek Hill on my fantasy team. But anyways, we're going to have to start him. But we're going to have to run the ball too, so that's why I say win the trenches. The Chargers knew we were throwing the ball, and the Chargers knew we threw the ball into the middle of the field, and that's where we wanted to go. And we didn't have an answer. We didn't run the ball. We didn't commit to it. It doesn't hurt that Jeff Wilson's a little banged up, but we're going to have to be able to run the ball, especially in inclement weather. So that's number 2. And number 3, this needs to be a statement game from Tua. We've had 2 poor games. We'll call them poor. Last night or Sunday night, very poor. Sunday prior, honestly, he made more poor throws on the Sunday prior, but he had a much better game statistically, aside from the turnovers. So let's say 2 bad weeks in a row. We need an answer, and this is a primetime game. This is another game. You're going to be on late night, Saturday night, cold weather. This is what people say you can't do. It's a good defense. It's a playoff push. Can you win in December? Can we? We need a statement from Tua here. It doesn't need to be an amazing game, but it needs to be a highly efficient game. I want to see him throw for 225, 250 plus, 2 touchdowns, no picks, no turnovers. I don't want to even see a fucking fumble. I want to see him hold on to the ball because you're probably going to get sacked. It's a good Bills defense. And our O-line's a little banged up. Teron Armstead had a very healthy game. Didn't play his best, but at least he remained healthy. We're going to need that. You're probably going to get sacked, Tua. It's probably going to be harder to throw the ball. It's probably going to be snowing. Their defense is good, but guess what? Where their defense lacks a bit is their passing defense. They're ranked 19th in the league in passing yards per game allowed. They allow 220 basically yards per game passing. So that's where we're gonna have to attack them a bit. But the thing is, we're gonna have to keep them honest as well with that run game. We need to get something going in the run game, and we need to scheme better as well. So, if they can take away our run game, can we at least throw somewhere else than down the middle of the field? We'll see. It's a big game from Tua. The way the narrative flips. This guy was in the MVP running 5 games in a row since being back, playing amazing football. That 3-game stretch of just as good as football as you can ever play at the quarterback position was unbelievable. It was great. But these 2 past games, narrative's been flipped on its head. We knew what Tua was. He still stinks. He's not the guy. And I'm not there yet, obviously. Well, not obviously, I guess. But I'm not that rash. I'm not going to say this because this guy has 2 bad games in a row. I think the Chargers game is a lot more on our scheming than on Tua himself. I think that was a team loss. Of course, he looked terrible in it, and the quarterback's always going to take the blame. I don't think the San Francisco game was that terrible. He missed throws, okay. You want to see more, of course. But this game here, this is going to be the 3rd game in a row that we have, a highly unproductive game. Not unproductive, but a bad game from Tua. We can't have 3 games in a row, man. We were sitting at 8-3. We were leading the division. We're now at 8-5, and depending on the rest of the season we might not even make the playoffs. So we're gonna need to see a turnaround. I think it starts with the offensive defensive scheme. Offensive scheme in terms of Tua's standpoint, and we need to help him out running the ball. We can't we got to keep teams honest. So, big game. It's going to be a tough one. Like I said, Saturday night. If we don't win, sure, but we got to fucking go out there and compete. If we don't compete, I'm going to feel very, very sour about this team because I already feel very bad. It was a tough Sunday. It was a humiliating Sunday. But, with a game like this, it's a massive opportunity. You can flip the narrative right back on its head with a big performance on Saturday. You truly can. So let's get it, boys. Let's go. Let's look around the league. Let's look at the rest of the games. We're going to make some quick picks and I guess some implications of what's going on. All right, so let me take one more drink. I'm getting a little bit scratchy in the throat. All right, Thursday we have a divisional matchup between the 49ers and Seattle. So the 49ers go to Seattle. That should be a fun Thursday night game. I like the way that San Francisco team's looking. So I'm going to take San Francisco in that one. Man, I don't know if I'm not going to start Geno Smith. I think I'm deciding that now. I don't think I'm going to start him. I think I'm going to take San Francisco in that game. I don't see the spreads, guys. I don't know if I've been doing spreads on these or not. Honestly, money line's fine on this. Colts at Minnesota. Minnesota has to win that one. I think they win that one pretty easily. Oh, these are on Saturday. So Colts, Minnesota, that's a 1 o'clock game. I think the Vikings win that one. Baltimore at Cleveland. Let's take the Browns, but let's see a dominant performance from J.K. Dobbins. I'm going to take the Browns because that's going to help the Dolphins. It's at Cleveland, 4:30 game. Deshaun Watson, I love seeing him stink because he's a nasty old man. But I'm going to take his team in this game. Dolphins at Buffalo. You know me, guys. I can never not take the team. I don't think we win, but I'm going to hope we win, so I'm going to take us, baby. So Dolphins in that one. Philadelphia at Chicago. I think the Eagles win that one pretty handedly. The Falcons, baby, at New Orleans. Desmond Ridder's first start in the league. The Falcons finally got some type of sense. So this is a divisional matchup. We get an indoor game, so nice weather. I think Desmond's played in this stadium. No, he hasn't yet, has he? I don't think so. No, he hasn't yet. So the Peach Bowl was in Atlanta, not New Orleans. But at New Orleans, Desmond getting his first start, 1 o'clock game. Let's push those Falcons in the playoffs, babies. I'm taking the Falcons by a wide margin, and Desmond's going to light up the fucking board. He's going to be the rookie performer of the week. Calling it right now. Detroit at New York. Let's take the Lions, baby. Fuck the Jets. Jared Goff. That's a tough defense, though. So I think Jared Goff has kind of struggled against those better defenses this year. But that team's on a roll. I'm going to take the Lions. Steelers at Carolina. Carolina with a big win against the Seahawks. Let's go with Carolina. That team's kind of came around. No, man, but that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. That's going to hurt the Falcons' chances there. I'm still going to take Carolina, but I want the Steelers to win. Dallas at Jacksonville. We'll take Dallas in that one. They're not good. I mean, Jacksonville looked good, but Jacksonville's so off and on. I don't think they're consistent enough. I think Dallas wins that one. Kansas City at Houston. Kansas City is going to be my take there. Arizona at Denver with Kyler Murray out. Man, that's gonna be a stinker of a game because, what do we think? We'll take Denver in that one, sure, even though they're just bad. Their defense has just been hung out to dry. Poor team. New England at Las Vegas. Let's take the Raiders. Josh Jacobs to run all over them, but I'm sure Bill is going to be scheming up against that, but, fuck New England. Tennessee at LA, the Chargers. Both of these teams, I don't really, need to. Honestly, I think the Titans bully the Chargers. We really should have won that game on Sunday, man. What a terrible performance from the team. Like I said, we just got out schemed, out coached, and just got altogether beat all the way around on every facet of the game. Bengals, Tampa Bay. We're going to take the Bengals in that one at Tampa Bay. New York at Washington. Let's take Vanilla Vic and the G-Men. At Washington in the Monday night matchup, LA at Green Bay. We'll take Green Bay in that one as well. But that'll wrap it up, guys. We're closing in. Well, it is 45 minutes. We've gone over on that. Once again, we did have the video going. I think my jump drive should be good for this one. That last one I bought was a piece of shit and corrupted every file. So this one has worked before, so I have trust it's going to work this time. So maybe we'll get this uploaded to the YouTube clip or to the YouTube channel. Make sure to go and subscribe. It's just Purple Media Co. So yeah, having fun doing it, guys. We're going to keep getting content out to you. Like I said, we're probably going to have another podcast tomorrow, and it's going to be with Mike. So we're going to finally get someone into the studio with me. Looking forward to it. Love you all. Thank you for listening. If you listen to it to the end, I appreciate it. I always do. Go out, get your Purple merch for your Christmas presents. There's no way they're not going to love it. But other than that, guys, keep it real. Keep doing you. Looking at the game right now, Argentina is now up 3-0 on Croatia. So looks like they're going to be moving forward into the World Cup. Does Messi get his first World Cup ever? There's going to be a lot of narratives on the line, guys. So looking forward to it. Speak to you soon. Maybe talk to you next week. We'll have a stream at some point. Maybe later tonight. Who fucking knows? Let's do this thing. But I'm enjoying it, guys. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it always. Purple Podcast, episode number 30.